Department plans to arrange a visit to Ireland of the Haunting Soldier, which is a sculpture made entirely of scrap metal. And the Haunting Soldier represents all soldiers, irrespective of rank, class or casualty, who fought during World War I. And she did this not because she had family or links to the Great War, but just as a mark of remembrance to all the Irish men who fought and died on the battlefields of Europe. And I'm pleased to say we were able to allocate €7,000 to help transport the sculpture from Devon to Dublin, where it will be placed in St. Stephen's Park for a period of time in November. The St. John's Advent's non-combatants who are here to commemorate tonight come from all sections of Irish society. And in the words of the British Red Cross report of 1914 to 1918, these contributions represent all social grades of the people and all religious denominations, Catholic and Protestant, nationalist and unionist, rich and poor. And while the tragedy of the First World War coincided with a period of turmoil here in Ireland in terms of our push for independence from British rule, the horrors of World War I and all it represented brought out the best in many Irish people. And many thousands joined the British and other Allied armies in the fight against German and Austro-Hungarian aggression, and hopefully their sacrifice and valour is well understood today and will be remembered once again at remembrance ceremonies later this year, marking the centenary of the armistice. And what this exhibition is focused on, however, is the lesser-known contribution made by the thousands of Irish citizens who gave freely of their time for humanitarian relief work during the war. The volunteer work of citizens during that period was quite extraordinary. They responded to the humanitarian call-out during a time when no national health service existed. The number of volunteers, the range of activities, funds raised and sacrifices made, including the ultimate sacrifice, is largely, I might suggest, unrecognised and unremembered. This exhibition draws heavily from the archives of St. John Ambulance Ireland, which, as we know, is a volunteer-based charity grounded in the mottos for the faith and in the service of humanity. This exhibition aims to tell the personal stories of those who worked quietly and tirelessly in the background to alleviate pain, suffering and deprivation of both combatants and non-combatants alike. Only recently emerged, as John pointed out to me earlier, or Bora pointed out to me earlier, the archive is a substantial collection of over 3,000 photographs and records dating back to the start of its work from 1880 onwards. Many of the photographs and records have not been publicly displayed before. And in addition to the main exhibition, there is also a vintage St. John's Ambulance vehicle from the area, which is here behind me. As I commented, I don't think anybody would ever want to be in such a vehicle, but it's incredible to have it here, as the Gehrig said earlier on. It's amazing that we got it into this building at all, and it's fascinating to see. To this end, 23 auxiliary hospitals were set up in Ireland to alleviate pressure on the civil and military hospitals. Over 10,000 were trained up in first aid during the war years. 46 hospital ships at North Wall carrying just over 20,000 soldiers were attended to. Many sick and injured were transported, and 2 special trains were built to get the injured to hospitals. This exhibition also highlights how, following the war, St. John's Ambulance Ireland requested that money raised by the people of Ireland during the war years, but which had not been spent, be returned to Ireland to support the civic hospitals and for the establishment of Ireland's first national ambulance service. The exhibition also provides new information on the response to the 1918 influenza pandemic that killed over 20,000 people in Ireland and affected over 500 million worldwide. In Ireland, St. John's Ambulance medics and nurses were called on by the government of the day to provide expertise on addressing the pandemic, and a number of public notices on the do's and don'ts were prepared and issued to citizens. Immediately after the Great War, St. John Ambulance continued to be a driving humanitarian force, and in 1920 established an invalid transport service. In 1921, it assisted during the War of Independence, and in 1922, over 300 served during the Civil War. All of this culminated in and the establishment of a welfare department were key driving forces for Gwendoline Barrington, an industry nurse and dietitian, and Dr. Ella Webb. This initiative saw over 1,250,000 meals served from 1925 to 1949, with hundreds of babies given a fighting chance of life. And it's a sad fact that the infant mortality rate was 81.3 in Ireland in 1916, meaning that for every 1,000 babies born during 1916, 81 died before they reached the age of 12 months. An anonymous author once said, humans are the only helpline that humanity has got. And today, St. John's Ambulance Ireland has humanity at its heart. It continues to offer a range of pre-hospital emergency training courses and personnel and ambulance cover at many public events at local, regional and national level. It honours the efforts and past voluntary sacrifice of its first members and leaders over a century ago. Cúis agus gom ar deisún an Caspointeise, atá chuile a gomannacht ar a canoin in éachtaí a rinne an nóphobal, nó an pobal nabhanach a bhíhí a bhfuil in Éireann, idir air is fan, an tapu leis an cóirchur. And it is that effort from 1914 to 1918 which is the focus of this exhibition we are launching this evening. And I firmly hope you find the individual stories we count to the St. John Ambulance archives informative, interesting and inspiring. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. For real.
Discussions around removing windows and doors and all sorts of things, and between Porrick and the Marion and the team and our facilities management team, we have a secret lift down in the back of the gallery, and we just got our review and worry about it as the end of October. So we'll be here for the next 2 weeks, so please bring in family and friends to see it. I think it's a very special piece. So at this stage, I want to introduce you to the Commissioner of St. John Ambulance, John Hughes. John is the 8th person to hold this post and has almost 40 years service as a volunteer. John Hughes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marie, and thank you, Minister, for those very kind words, and for your this as well. Thank you. I'm not a constituent or a resident of Dunleary, but if there are anyone, any residents here, I think we've a quorum of the council present. So we need an urgent decision, or they're all here at the moment. I would like to thank Minister Madigan and her department in particular for providing the funding which enabled us to bring this exhibition together. As the Minister mentioned in her address, we have a lot of archive material in our headquarters. It was carefully stored in our basement in a number of boxes, not properly catalogued, not properly looked after or cared for, until Porrick Allen took a keen interest in the whole history of St. John and our National Archives work. And Porrick is hiding way over to your right, as you look, in a blue suit, green shirt and a blue tie. I'd like in particular to thank Porrick for the countless hours he's given to this and continues to do duty in a volunteer capacity. And like all our volunteers, he has a day job and a family and so on. So it's just a fantastic contribution he's making. As the Minister has mentioned in her address, we do trace our history back to the first aid course held in 1880 in the suburbs of Dublin in an area called Rathmines, which of course no one thinks the suburbs anymore. And then we founded a uniform section of St. John around 1903, 1904. The driving force, and you'll see more than one picture, was a Dr. John Lumsden, who was the medical officer in Guinness's Brewery. Now the mind boggles as to why Guinness's Brewery felt the need to have people trained in skills in first aid and medical care rather than any other employment, but that's where it began. And soon afterwards public divisions were formed, which is what we recognise in a lot of the colleagues here in the audience in uniform. Those divisions began in 1904, and the City of Dublin is